shit, is my mic on? Hallo und willkommen. And in Japanese, I can only blink on Japanese when I'm actually trying to speak it. That's great. Um, Not when I'm studying. That's great. Konbanwa, because it is evening. I'd say oyasumi, but I feel like that's telling you good night. Konbanwa. To Yokoso! That's it. That's the word I'm looking for. Can't find it any other fucking time, but that's okay. Okay. And what am I going to be talking about tonight? All kinds of things. Not yaoi, because there's too many kids that come to my stream, and I still gotta boost my followers. So at least we'll just continue to get used to my actual nasty attitude. What the heck is this? What does she mean? Yes. Oh my god. You know what? Who cares about that? That's not what I'm talking about tonight. Oh my goodness. Okay. So, just to fresh start, as y'all know, I was working at McDonald's for since I started streaming, I was working at McDonald's. I no longer work there, right? And y'all should know I was on the closing shift. Every night that I worked, I was on the closing shift. If I was ever in earlier than my normal start, it was because I was picking up hours, but I was still closing. Just so this makes sense. And I'm sorry, I'm just so distracted by that text. I hate this coworker. I mean, She's probably not going to be my coworker for long, but what the fuck? Um, so, but more than that, I haven't just been working the night shift while I was working at McDonald's for almost 2 years. No, I've actually been working the night shift regularly on every job I've had since like 2023. Like night shift or closing, including that one that I got fired from. But we don't have to talk about that. Yeah, because I was working at the grocery store, then I went to another grocery store, and then I went to McDonald's, and now I work another job where I am the night shift, but it ends at 9. And if I ever get home later than like 9:30, it's because I was sitting in my car or in the office after I clocked out, just like scrolling for 30 minutes, sometimes like an hour, hour and a half. It is terrible, absolutely terrible. Um but anyway, like I have been working closing shifts, night shifts for the last 3 years for sure. Oh my gosh, no, it's longer than that cuz I started at the grocery store before that one like a year before, so since 2022. Oh my god. So like almost 4 years I've been working closing shifts. And let me tell you, that's interesting. It was a little better when I worked at the grocery stores because they always closed at 10. Uh, and these grocery stores were honestly a little better at handling closing shifts than, say, the fast food restaurant I worked at. And I got out of there like 10:30 tops. Like that was the latest I would stay past closing, past 10 p.m. And even then, I think because my managers, the ones who were always on duty, they understood that I was a not really a child, like a full grown adult, but still in school and being female. And maybe that has more to do with where I'm at, where, our staff tend to care about that and understand, don't want to keep you out. Who knows what you're planning to do? But yeah, they want to make sure that we got done early. And luckily we could. So it wasn't that big a deal. Anyway, I'm getting a little sidetracked. I've been working night shifts, closing shifts for the last 4 fucking years. Because that is what has worked out for me. Um, it's tiring, but also with the way my school schedule was all these years, I could not work a regular job. Like I don't want to bother my managers or whoever's making the schedule by telling them I have this really weird fucked up schedule, but like you'll have to work with it. And then I also don't like the confusion of having weird hours. Oh, I can work like Tuesday and Thursday in the early morning, but I have to be gone by at least 10:30. Like I need to already be clocked out essentially by 10:30 so I have enough time to get back to my school or get to my school for my classes and not be late. But like the place opens at 6 and I don't want to wake up early, and like it's stupid. I'm not doing that to myself. I'm not doing that to other people. So I was just like, you know what? Things had worked out the last 4 years where my class schedules were like Fridays were essentially I either didn't have any classes or I only had one class, and because of when it was, I was open to have I could work anywhere from like for the most part there were a few years where there was a couple of semesters, not years, but a couple semesters where I had to change my availability on Fridays. But generally, I could work anywhere from noon to close on Fridays because I had all of Friday off, but I want to sleep. I like to sleep. I I'm depresso all the fucking timeo, so yeah. Anyway, I like did that. And it works great. I'm like, "Oh yeah, I can work Friday, Saturday, Sunday." That's amazing. You know why? Because it's hard for any employer to find someone who's willing to work the weekends and who's willing to work night shift or closing shift, but it's doubly hard to find someone who's able to consistently work the night shift slash closing shift on a weekend. And I came in there telling them these are literally the only days I can work for you and the only times I can work for you. It's not going to bother me because these are the only times that I can work and I need money. So like We good, we're Gucci. Oh, it doesn't require any particular skill because it's a minimum wage job that requires no skill. They can train you in 3 days and you're getting paid during those days. Like, you're good, you're okay. I'll be fine. So that's what I've done for the last 4 years, essentially. Um, Now then, if that was so good and I was able to get hired, like, why did I keep getting fired? Or not fired? I only got fired from one job, and that was not the grocery store one. Uh, why did I quit or leave? Well, I'll tell you what, the first grocery store job, I thought the management was terrible. I mean, it was. But then I went to another grocery store immediately after that one, and then I realized that one wasn't so bad. Um, yeah, and I regretted that, but I didn't really want to go back because my car was being annoying, and I don't want to drive to the south side of town. And it was kind of out of the way. Like, I needed, there were other reasons for leaving that place. Just having bad management was like made it easier for me to make the decision. That's all. It was a dumb fucking decision. I tell you that right now. Because the other grocery store I went to immediately after, I can't name any of the grocery stores because they are like uniquely local to my area, like my region, or yeah, they're very local. They're small grocery stores. They are not all across the United States. They're in a couple of states, but within a radius of where I am. So I can't name them. Um so yeah, so the other grocery store I went to, I gave them my availability and they were like, "Okay, that works for us." And then I went to my interview and they asked for my availability again, and I'm like, "Here's my availability." Now, key thing to put in here, I at the time I was waiting on my school schedule, trying to figure out what classes there's a potential that a class I was adding might end up being on a Friday, or depending on how things go. After I talked to my advisor, I might have to put something on there that was on a Friday, but I don't quite remember what hours that one is, so I'll have to get back to you. So anyway, however, about this, again, my availability is Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You can't put me anywhere. You can't put me on the other 4 days of the week. Um, However, the thing about not knowing about this class, it only put Friday in question, and not whether I could work Friday, whether I could start at the time that I gave them. Luckily, it worked out perfectly fine. Um, my hours for Friday would be my availability would be exactly the same as it is on Saturday and Sunday. It's no biggie. Here's the thing: I worked my first Friday, Saturday, and Sunday there, and you wouldn't believe it. After working 3 days, they immediately put me on the schedule for the 4 days that they can't, that I'm not available. So I call them up and I'm like, "Hey, we talked about this. I've told you on 3 separate occasions my availability." "Oh, I didn't notice that you put me on a Wednesday." "Probably because I've told you on 3 separate occasions what my availability was and you said that it was okay. And while there was like some hubbub about Fridays, it didn't put the rest of my availability into question. It just put my starting times for Friday into question." And then like, "Oh, this isn't going to work for you. You're fired." First thing about probationary periods, they can still only fire you for a legal reason. So I wrote a nice little, honestly, text, but I like to say email because it sounds more professional rather than having my manager's phone number, because that's what idiots do that don't actually know what professionalism is. Um, I was like, "Oh, yeah, that's cool, dude. While I know I'm in the probationary period, I think you firing, essentially, in the most professional way, I essentially told him, you're firing me for a mistake that you made. And there's no way that this company's HR department is going to see that as a good reason to fire somebody. So you might want to rethink it." And it's also like, essentially illegal. Like, you're firing me for a mistake you made, not one that I made. Oh, okay, that's cool. I love that. And so is your company's HR, and so are these companies' lawyers. It's great. It's fine. Anyway, I was back in there on Friday working my originally scheduled hours, and I stayed there till about November when they scheduled me outside of my hours for a second time, and I refused to let it happen a third. Anyway, I got sidetracked working nights for all these years. After I left that place, I then started working at McDonald's, where I was just a month and a half ago. I no longer work there. There have been some things that have happened that have resulted in my franchisee that owned 3 locations in my town. They retired, and the new owner officially took over in about May. Cool beans, coolio, get the stretch. Um, but more importantly, because of how terrible the new owner is, there are people, essentially no one who worked there before May still works there. And that goes for all 3 of the locations that this new owner is in charge of. Um, yeah, there's a lot going on there. But anyway, again, McDonald's. So I had been working at McDonald's since 2023. It I mean, come November of this year, it would have been 2 years. Like, I was really close to the 2 year mark. Um, so there have been plenty of instances purely because of the hours that I work that I wouldn't like, because I live at home, guys. I live at my house because the university that I go to is in the city that I went to elementary, middle, and high school, right? So I still live at home. Anyway, I was sitting with my mom. Um, so I see my mom like every day, except when I work the night shift. In fact, um, so my mom works a regular, like legit 9 to 5. Uh, and same one she's worked at my whole fucking life, my whole life. And what's crazy is that during the almost 2 years I've worked at McDonald's, it never sank in that sometimes I would not see my mom for like a whole 24 hours to 2 days. Not because she was out of town, but because of the way our schedules were. Like, I might come home and see her car in the driveway, but I don't see my mom except maybe randomly at night when she's going to the bathroom or something. And sometimes I don't because, like, she might not get up to go to the bathroom at a time that I'm, like, in the hallway. It's crazy. But it's a real thing. So anyway, a few weeks ago, back in June, specifically on Juneteenth, which I believe was a Thursday. Yes, this is how the story goes together. Yeah, that's exactly what it was. I realized, because I was sitting there talking to my mom, I was like, she had the day off because Juneteenth is now a national holiday. I don't really care too much about Juneteenth. Um, I realize nobody knows what color I am, so this is going to be terrible for me. Um, I don't like the idea of Juneteenth. I mean, I do like the idea of it. It seems like a BS holiday, making it national just because of some stuff that happened in 2020, where a lot of the black population in this country did not know what that was. In fact, honestly, the majority of this country's population did not know what Juneteenth was or the importance of it until after 2020 George Floyd. We don't need to get too political about this. I'm not ready to share my real political opinions because that's fucking ridiculous. That's not really a political opinion. That's just like an opinion. Anyway, yeah. So Juneteenth, no work for my mom. I'm still going to my minimum wage job at McDonald's. And I'm like, well, Mom, I love you. See you tomorrow. Oh, actually, no, I won't see you tomorrow because you're going to work tomorrow. And by the time you get home, I will have already left for work by the time I get back home, because at this point in time, my McDonald's, because of the new ownership, new management, everything, I might be scheduled to leave at close. Like I'm on the closing shift always, so I may be scheduled to leave at 12, but I still have to stay and finish the cleaning. And it used to always end at like 12:30. We'd be out maybe by 1. Or rather, that's like maybe when I would arrive at my house. But new ownership, new management. This shit's terrible. Also, there's really nobody else at my location from before the new owner and new management. I'm not getting home till like 1. I'm not getting off until 1 in the morning. So I'm not getting home till like 1:10 or 1:20, depending on things. Sometimes I'm not getting home till fucking 2 in the morning because of how long it's taking us to close. It's ridiculous. Crazy ridiculous. Anyway, um, right, so I realized, oh my, yeah, I'm not even like, Mom, I'm not gonna see you till Saturday, probably, assuming you go to the gym at the same time you do, and I'm actually awake and out of bed. Because if I'm, yeah, I was like, okay, well, that's great. It was like that. I was like, wow, I'm not gonna see my mom till fucking Saturday morning. Maybe. 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 Um, and that's exactly how it went. And the thing is, it's not unlikely to happen, but mind you, I think at that time I was working extra hours, car problems. I think at that time I was trying to get new tires again. They were worn down, like really worn down. Um, and trying to pay back for another car issue I'd had a few months back where I still needed to pay my mom because I didn't have enough money to get that fixed done in my own bank account, but I could work enough hours to quickly pay somebody else off, which is exactly what happened. I did overtime for like 4 weeks straight, by the way. That is also part of why I have not streamed nearly as often or regularly as I had, along with school, the online school for the summer. Yeah, it's crazy. Anyway, yeah. So, Juneteenth. So, the real thing here is I didn't that obviously Juneteenth weekend was not even the first time that had happened. Like it's happened before, but it was the first time I realized it because it was the first time it really sank in and it affected me mentally, I guess. Because it was also the first time I'd really said it out loud what was happening and part of why it was happening. Explained it much quicker to my mom than I did to you guys. And I think just actually saying it out loud is the only reason why I made the realization that, oh, night shift. I don't get to see any of my family members or some of my family members until the weekend or a morning when I might be awake to engage with them. It's absolutely crazy. And I hated it. Well, I like money. I like being I like whatever kind of financial situation I'm in right now. I mean, it's not the best, but it's what I have right now. Also, something I need to remind you guys of. I am officially graduated. My diploma arrived in the mail today. Bachelor of Arts. Though considering the graduation requirements at my university, I am a bit annoyed that it doesn't have my minor on there or my certificate, or there's not a separate piece of paper with those things on it. So, considering they're essentially a requirement to graduate, you have to have 3 separate things to graduate from my university. One, a major, or as a traditional student. One, you have to have a major, of course, Bachelor of Arts. It could have at least say what said what kind of major I got. It is a fine arts major, but okay, cool. It would say, but because it's in the arts, that shit would say Bachelor of Arts regardless of what kind of fine art major I got. So I'm pissed about that, but that's fine. You know, $48,000 of debt, student loan debt, and that sheet of paper only has one of the things that I got from you. That's fucking grand. Thank you. But still, I'm good. I like that. I like that I got the degree. I now have the things that I need to get into Japan, um, because like everything requires a bachelor's degree. And let me tell you guys, I am not built for college. I'm not academically sound enough for it. Sure, I got accepted into every university I applied to. That sounds like a great thing, but one day I'll tell you why it sounds great. But yeah, I got into every university I applied to. Sure. Y'all don't know how I did school in high school. Oh my fucking god. School? The way I did school, not even just school, not even just high school. I coasted by. I had zero fucking study skills. No study skills when I just want to turn this thing off real quick. I had no study skills when I graduated high school. Oh, thanks, Imperial Speaker. It's fine. You don't have to stay. Um, no study skills. Why? Because I didn't study, obviously, ever. I had no reason to study. Um, I aced every single test I took. I only took notes because I was required to pass the class, but I did not study them. Um, I say more like took notes. It was like I wrote some shit down. I didn't know how to take notes. I wrote down things that sounded vaguely interesting, but then you had people around me who had like pages, and I just had like a page, maybe half a page. It was the same case in college as well, most of the time. Um, but anyway, not studying all throughout school, acing tests, not trying during tests, falling asleep during class all the fucking time. Falling asleep during test, your teacher wakes you up, says, "Hey, you got to finish that test." So you zoom through the test. She grades the test, and then you've aced it, but you never turned in all of your work. You know, I had a chronic issue even in college, which is actually why I failed some classes in college. Not even gonna lie. Um, Middle school, high school, not a big issue, but chronic issue all throughout public school. Um, I just wouldn't turn my homework in on time. And you know, I'd rarely turn in homework in on time, fully complete. But otherwise, I was just handing in work that was one it was late, and most of the time it was half done. It was just not complete. So I would get straight C's in classes because I wouldn't do essentially the supplemental work. But if you look at how I did on my tests, I aced them and I never studied for them bitches. That's nobody take study advice from me, like, because the only advice I can really give you is maybe you should actually study, at least learn some study skills. You just got to learn those. You have to. Because if you want to go to university, if you want to go to college, you actually need those. Otherwise, you will be like me. It took me 6 years to get a 4-year degree. My screen has turned off. Oh no. Hey. Yeah, 6 years to get a 4-year degree. Um, you got to understand your reasons for even wanting to go to university as well. What were my reasons for going to university? Japan. Even to teach English in Japan, like all of those places require that I have a degree. I have recently learned that some of them only require like an associate's, not a 4-year. But considering if you go and look, most places are going to say that you need a bachelor's degree, which is a 4-year degree. You can get them at a lot of places. There's some community colleges that might offer some bachelor's, but you know, I think the cheapest degree you could really get at any university is going to be the liberal arts, or just go to a liberal arts college. Tell them you want that liberal arts degree. Zoom out of there, take all the classes each semester, overload. That's like 17 credit hours a semester. Get that shit done, get it done. But that's why I went to university. I've wanted to go to Japan since I was in middle school. Um, and I just needed a 4-year degree. And let me tell you guys, I have known the whole time. I may have aced some of my math classes in school, but I also struggled with certain classes. I tried to take a PLTW class in high school. That is a engineering class. Math. The kind of math that they say girls can't do. Well, I'm one of those girls that cannot do that fucking math. I'm doing nothing for the females. I'm sorry. I'm proving I'm right. And that's just on me. That's my brain. No, I was terrible at that class. I dropped that class. I feel so bad for that teacher though. Bless his heart, because I was doing it. I was doing the math, and I'd turn that shit in, and he'd grade it immediately, and he'd be like, this is an F, or you got a D on just this homework alone. He'd hand it back. He'd give me all of the solutions were there. He'd circle exactly where I messed up. I don't know what's wrong with my brain, because I would do it. I'd see where I messed up and be like, all right, I fixed it with still the wrong thing. This is just like me in chemistry with the gas laws. And that's the only reason I've kept that notebook. I'm about to throw it away though. I can't keep looking at it. I'm gonna cry. No, because I would do this homework, fix it, and then I'd hand it back to him to grade. And it's like, I don't know how how I handed this to you for you to fix it, and you have handed me work that is worse than your first attempt. When I handed it back to you, it was a D. It is now an F. How is... So that's when I knew engineering is not for me. Now, seriously though, it's not for me. I am not smart enough to go to college for a degree that promises that I can make bank. They don't have to promise it. I know that I can go into a field that demands that will pay, that pays money. I'm not smart enough for that. But alas, if only I could. If only I were smart enough for that. I'm not smart enough for the kinds of things that actually genuinely interest me and that I'm okay at. I'm just not smart enough to pursue it as a degree. I think my mom has cried about how bad I am at math. I'm exaggerating. That's hyperbole. But I don't doubt that it's happened. She's a very sensitive woman and she loves me. Actually, hold on. I want to make sure. Boop. I just want to hear this. I think my mom has cried about how bad I am at math. I'm exaggerating. That's hyperbole. But I don't doubt that it's happened. She's a very sensitive woman and she loves me. That actually genuinely interests me and that I'm okay at. I'm just not smart enough to pursue it as a degree. All right, sorry, I left. I was just checking. I made a clip of that. I was like, that's actually like kind of cool, very clippable. I'm just not good enough at math to go into STEM. Notice I did not say STEAM because I may be an art. I am an artist, and while I kind of appreciate STEAM, I don't. I don't like that it kind of takes away from STEM. Arts are important, but it is not. I mean, some art does have elements of the various things that STEM is, but science, engineering, technology. Yeah, I forgot the T. Like, I knew I was forgetting a letter. And mathematics. Great. I'm not smart enough to enter any of those fields. Let's face it. I also just am not dedicated enough. Like, maybe in my future, very slowly, over time, I can, like, maybe get a degree in that kind of stuff. But the amount of time it takes me to learn and comprehend some of the concepts that I greatly appreciate, I just, I could not. Uh, I'm telling you right now, the amount of times I would have to call my mom crying if I pursued a STEM, a STEM major of any kind. Yeah, so arts was for me, and it was the easiest and quickest way for me to get a degree. I won't go into why it took me 6 years. Um, on a technic, it's really a technicality. If you ever take a break, or rather, if you ever take a leave of absence, uh, if at all possible, make sure that your leave of absence is not spring of one semester and fall of it, spring of one school year and then fall of another. Make sure it's just an entire school year, like calendar, like actual school year. Don't do what I did, and that's why I have technically, it technically took me 6 school years. Anyway, I that's my dumbness there. Yeah, so degrees, if you're going to college, make sure you know why you're going to college. Like everyone says that, and I don't know how much those people really mean what they're saying or understand what they're saying. There are a lot of tools out there, and I know for me in high school, there was like this counselor person. They were kind of fresh graduates themselves, and they were just telling us information that they were told to tell us for the most part. However, they are telling you real, useful information at the most inopportune time when you're not paying attention, and they always seem like they're behind and aren't fully prepared. That's fine, it's great, and it's super annoying. And you're not paying attention. You don't learn everything. There's stuff that I know that, or for me it was woman, but that I know that those counselors, there's information that I know that those people gave us, but I was not, I just wasn't in the state of mind to like learn that. And there's a lot that we are learning in school. I mean, at least where I am, I know there's things that I learned in school. For a fact, I know I learned in school because I just have a stupid fucking memory that's annoying and super selective for no reason. But then I have a multitude of peers that I went to school with, same graduating class or similar graduating class. I know they had the same teachers, they had the same curriculum, and they don't know this information. And it's crazy to me. How is that possible? I was like, bro, I took that class too. Oh, I took that with the same fucking teacher, same school, same school district, same city, same state, same country. I don't know how you missed that, buddy. I don't know how you missed that. Um, anyway, pay attention, try to figure out, and it also feels like some of the stuff that the counselor is going to tell you in your junior and senior year, they're almost telling it to you um, like it's an afterthought, like it's not that important. But I'm telling you right now, part of the reason why I went for graphic design, well, I wanted it to be a degree, but the amount of debt I would be in just to have the double major that I wanted have the majors that I wanted is just not realistic. So they're going to throw information out there offhandedly as if it's not important, but it is. Here's the main thing, and I'm sure y'all are seeing it every fucking where. Um, Basically, whatever degree you're getting, make sure that the jobs, the type of jobs that you can get with that degree have an earning potential, especially entry level. As an entry level person with this degree, see what jobs you can get entry level with that degree. And you need to see how much money those give you. The annual salary could be for those, the minimum, the bare minimum, because that's likely what you're gonna get. All right. And then you need to figure out how much debt you're probably going to graduate with, if you were going to graduate with debt. All right. And you need to make sure that the degree you're getting allows you to get an entry level job that can have you making at least what the exact amount of debt that you will be graduating with. So for me, in my case, I have graduated with just under $40,000 in debt. I know it's a bit personal. I really shouldn't be telling y'all about my finances, but I'm graduating with $40,000 in debt. Generally speaking, no matter what degree I got, with the ones that were a realistic option for me, that's why we're ignoring the STEM ones. With any degree I could have gotten, the earning potential for me is around $40,000 a year. That, I mean, it's kind of mid in the middle, but anything above that is really like, that's after a year, maybe 2 or 3 years of working there. Like, minimum at least 3 years working there, where I would start making maybe 50,000. Or after 3 years, I move 2 to 3 years, I move to a different job, get paid slightly more. Yeah, I don't know why my network's terrible. Anyway, leave me alone. Uh, I got a notification. Anyway, so So I want to make sure that I'm graduating with debt that's either the same amount of money that I could potentially make as a fresh graduate, or less than the amount of money that I could make as a fresh graduate. I hope that makes sense. Um, so basically, what I'm telling you, if I had gone to university for another year just to get the double major I wanted, which, mind you, I really only needed, yeah, I only need like maybe a semester to get the degree I wanted, but it was just like, even that one semester would put me over the amount of money I could make realistically with either one of those degrees, and having both of those degrees doesn't make a big difference. I just wanted to double major because I was like, oh, I could. And then I failed a class and it kind of pushed it. Oops. That's my bad. Again, I've told you all about my bad habits, and that's why, yeah, that's part of why it's taken so long. But mainly, I changed my major a couple times, and that was stupid. Yeah, super fucking stupid. Um, that's also why I've taken a couple of business classes. I changed my major. Yeah, I changed it to a business major and then I changed that shit back. There's just this one class. I don't know. Combined, not only was I doing bad with turning in my work, I was also not doing well on the work that I turned in, which was just like, oh no, my usual things that I do that have I've been able to coast, and like it's not working here, and like, oops, yeah, it was bad, um, and crazy. Anyway, I think I also withdrew the first time because I was like, I don't think I'm gonna pass this, so I'm gonna like withdraw from this class. So I took it a second time, and then I was like, oh, no, I'm not doing this. And that's like, it was a class like at the start of the major. Like, I had taken some other classes for the major, but it was basically a class where Bro, if I'm struggling with this one class, what is the point in me trying to pursue the rest of the degree? I mean, there is a point, but like, it's gonna take me for fucking ever. And I ain't got that kind of time. If I want to be in college in my 30s, I'm not going to be in, it's not going to be because I kept failing classes and it's taking me longer and longer. It's going to be because I come back to school to finish. Ugh. And it was really feeling like that. Granted, at the time I was only like 20, but still it felt that way. Damn. 21. Um, anyway, besides the point, that's how it works. If you're going to be looking at it, think about what you want. Think about what you are capable of. You might actually have to sit down and think about what were your strengths in school? What did you fail at? What are the things that you like to do? Did you struggle with those as well? Or did you excel in those? And I'm telling you right now, all of you music people who think you're going to school for a music major, stop and think to yourself, how has it been the last couple of years of you playing that instrument, of you singing? When's the last time you played? I mean, I'm kind of talking about myself. When's the last time you played that instrument and liked it? Okay? Right, so you're thinking about that. Cool, cool. Now, for those of you that really like music, but you've just not been into it the last couple of years for whatever the reason may be, do you think that's going to suddenly change when you get to university trying to pursue a music major? It's not. It's not going to suddenly change. You're not going to suddenly gain more interest in it. And of all of the kinds of majors that you can get, music, it's not even that it's the worst one. It's not. It's actually a really good one. But here's the thing, what is the point in getting a music degree if you are not going to continue to further your education to like a master's, a PhD or something? Or if you're not going to then use that degree to do very specific technical musical things or be a music teacher? What are the great uses of a music degree that you know of outside of the things I've already listed? Oh, a sound engineer? Most of this, I'm kind of assuming this, but think of all of the famous musicians right now. Now think of the producers on albums, especially in particular genres. Honestly, like R&B, hip hop, rap, even the ones that are very popular right now. Those people aren't music majors. They did not go to university for music. Some of them didn't even go to college. Most of them didn't go to college. Some of them barely graduated high school. You can make a beat without learning about the intricacies of music. You are absolutely fine. Um, by all means, I think music, it's great. It's behind in the on times, but it's also ahead. It keeps up with the times. Music is definitely one of those things where you can still just get involved with people who know music very well. Learn music, learn the ins and the outs, and you can keep going. There might not be a real need for you to get a degree in music unless you know exactly the thing that you're trying to get this degree for and that it actually requires a degree. Because, I mean, with my university, because of why I went there, um, future reference, uh, if you want a music degree for whatever reason, find a college that basically hands them out, where the requirements are less than others. You're still learning the things you need to. You still got to pass your classes. It's still college courses, but basically go to a school that has the absolute bare minimum requirements for accreditation for that, and you're probably going to be on your way. You're fine. Um, Otherwise, there's nothing about music that you cannot learn online or from someone who's just wants to teach it to you. There are some instruments that you can learn to play that you will innately learn certain musical traits and understandings. Mainly the accordion. Learning piano and how to read piano is going to help you out with so many things. Accordion will help you understand the circle of fifths, like nobody's business. And then whenever you actually take a theory class, you'll be like, damn, I already know this bitch. I don't know accordion. That is just something I learned from a professor who, it was some guy online who is a music professor, and he learned that, like, people who understood music the best and had the easiest time with learning, music theory were those random accordion people who grew up playing accordion. Crazy. Anyway, moving on, you have to understand why you're going to college. Make sure that the degree you're getting or trying to get makes sense, and know that the amount of debt that you are likely to graduate with, and you need to make sure that the debt that you're going to graduate with is equal to or less than the amount of money you can make with that degree immediately after graduating. Okay, so back to why I really wanted to do something with graphic design, like why I really wanted a graphic design degree. Tech. Jobs in tech are some of the highest paying jobs. That was what we were told when I was in high school. At the time, they were expecting the tech field to grow like a ton over the next 10 years. It has not been 10 years yet, but it has definitely grown. And yeah, it's grown. And I realized that graphic design is not tech in the way that regular old people think of it, but it is in the tech field. I am not smart enough to do STEM, to do like tech in regards to STEM. Oh my brother's kind of loud, and I need to drink. Show him water. So I realized, oh my god, I'm not smart enough to get a degree in STEM. But graphic design, that uses a ton of technology. It requires an understanding of technology that is higher than the average person. And it does also pay pretty well. Not nearly as well as, software engineering and, understanding the ins and outs of technology. Not as much as that. Not as much as the STEM part. But it does have pretty good pay for being in essentially the art part of technology. That's the best I can say. Um, and mind you, graphic design, I don't think a lot of people realize how much graphic design is in your life. All right? First off, you're into VTubing because you're watching me. Oh, yeah. I hired a graphic designer to make my model. They designed my model. They rigged my model. That's graphic design right there. The graphic designer who made my overlay, that's graphic design. 100%. Go to any website. Let's see. I think, hold on, before I get ahead of myself, I'm going to put myself small here. And then I don't want title, damn it. Let me open a new window. And honestly, I'm just going to open YouTube immediately. Honestly. I don't know what's going to happen. Let's see. If I go this. All right. Yeah. So, to a certain extent, you could think of comics as being a form of graphic design as well. Though I guess it wouldn't be your traditional thing. So, this is YouTube. Oh, yeah. A graphic designer created the logo. So, a graphic designer just, or rather a team of, more than likely, with how big this company is, has designed the layout. I think I've always talked about graphic design at some point. We're gonna quickly look at this shitty Y8. Oh wow, actually, this shit used to be so bad when I was younger. I still like have the old layout memorized, right? So somebody on the team was like, "Hey, yo, whenever people are hovering over it, it needs to get big. Like it needs to kind of pop out at them." And then you notice how whenever I'm on something that's where I can click, it turns white into like, hey, please click me. You want to. It's suggesting things. It's knowledge. It's great. It's awesome. Graphic design. Billboards. Graphic design. I feel like I spelled it wrong. Guess not. Graphic design is all around you. Oh, and that's like absolutely what everyone says to you. It's like I'm some kind of salesman. It is around you in everything. Somebody designed this shit and did it online. And while I understand that everyone is deeply upset with Adobe and how much of a monopoly it is, let me just show you something on why I use it and why I still pay for it. Uh, okay. Should have just hit remote, honestly. Let me just close this because I don't want it to accidentally like try to log me in or something, and then my shit's everywhere. Yeah, but I don't want to sign in. Can I just not log in? Damn. I don't want to look at your jobs. Okay, I don't think Zip Recruiter requires an account. Okay. Okay. So right now we're looking at this random job because I don't know what it is. We're going to open it, but I don't want to log in. I don't want to log in with anything. Die in a hole, damn. Okay, here's something interesting. We are going to sign in or scroll down to the requirements, which should be listed somewhere. What the fuck? Show me the information I'm looking for. What the fuck? Degree in art, fashion. Look at this. So, skilled in Adobe Creative Suite, including Illustrator and Photoshop. They really didn't have to put Creative Suite. I don't think any of them know what they're asking for when they say Creative Suite. Okay? Here's this. Have the ability to create vector-based and hand-drawn. Yeah, that's cool, that's cool. Typography, cool. Multi-projects, yeah. That's all. Notice. Adobe. Why? Because it's industry standard. Is this bitch not charging? Oh no, it's just been using so much power. Let me just... Listen, guys. My thing's been a bit ditzy lately. We're gonna click on the next one. And key responsibilities, not that. Requirements. Adobe Creative Suite, Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign. Everyone is asking for you to know how to use Adobe because it is the industry standard. They're not going to ask me to use Procreate. They're not going to ask for... This is a fucking... motion graphic designer. Okay, never mind. That makes sense. Adobe Creative Suite, Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign, After Effects, Premiere Pro, Figma, and... Stop asking for Canva. That's fucking stupid. But Figma is new and definitely becoming a standard. I believe for companies using it, it is cheaper for them than Adobe. However, they still need someone who can use Adobe for, well, still everything listed, because unfortunately Adobe's been in the game for so long, and honestly such a monopoly for so long, that Illustrator is still better at the vector things than Figma is. And it's going to be a little bit before Figma catches up on the Illustrator type stuff. And it's also going to take a while for enough people to be good enough at Figma to hire to stop putting Illustrator in there. All right, moving on. Graphic designer. What's this one going to say? Yeah, that's because you're asking for 3D stuff, so nobody cares. And if it's freelance, essentially, or remote, they don't care. Here we are, experience with Adobe. Yet again, this is why I pay for Adobe. This is why I focus on using Adobe. People may not like it. I don't necessarily like it that much, but I use what I have to use, and it's what I learned because basically I want to be a W-2 worker. I mean, I want to do this stuff too, so maybe not that much, but I want to make sure I'm employable. This stuff was working fine the other day. I want to make sure I'm still employable. Yeah. So, graphic design, tech job, technically, high paying. It takes a while to learn how to use it, how to use the tools necessary to have the degree, and it's not an unskilled thing, but it's the professional experience that's killing me. I don't have it. I have to do an internship. I need more water. And while graphic design pays less as a fresh graduate, again, I'm not smart enough to do like an actual like software coding engineering degree or whatever, uh, which would pay me a lot more money after I graduated. So, as a fresh graduate, so it is what it is. That being said, remember my original goal for wanting to get a degree is because the best and easiest way for me to get into Japan is a 4-year degree, without having like years of experience doing something, which still kind of need, but maybe I might not need as much. Uh, and of course, I'm working toward a fluency level that will pretty much guarantee me a job in Japan. I mean, N3 is great, but N2 would be better, but that's going to take a lot longer. So. And if this stuff takes off, it might not be that big of a deal. I just really need to beef up my portfolio with professional work. Unfortunately, like this type of work is great for my portfolio. Like if I made a VTubing model, which I've never done, and I don't think my art skill lends to making this kind of art. At least not yet. I just haven't like worked on that skill. Uh which is why I hired somebody to make my model. One of these days when I actually have money to spare, I will. Now anyway, I need to quickly cut this short because my laptop has not been charging at the rate that I would prefer. So really quickly, so fucking loud. So I'm going to be getting a second job, not because I need one, but because I need to, or second job, more than likely an internship, whichever one. I prefer one that pays, but it's going to be local. It's going to be during the day, like a 9 to 5, not exactly. Um, Monday through Friday. It is not going to affect my new streaming schedule, which is essentially supposed to be an hour a day, 5 days a week. Kind of had a post vaguely about that, but I never said it specifically. So it's not, like I said, it's not going to change for this. My new streaming schedule's in actually an hour a day, 5 days a week. And that will probably be after my shift generally. So look out for 10 to 11. Mm, I guess I'd have to look at when I actually started today's stream. But yeah, definitely guarantee that the big, loud, annoying streams, maybe not annoying. Yeah, maybe to some people. The singing, the ones where I have to be loud here, it's big and loud to the other people that live here. Those will be on. I might have to switch things around to where like Monday I do singing and then like Tuesday is still my gaming. Uh, Specifically balloons because I just don't want to move that around. I don't, but I'll figure it out. And I will actually have a streaming schedule that I have designed. Um, that's about it. Yeah. Um, Good night. It's nice seeing y'all. It's nice being live. Guten Abend. Bis bald. Und oyasumi nasai. Mata ne. Bye.